Over the next several days, you will hear a number of different stories. Some of those stories may be familiar to you and some may be completely new. Stories are often created from people's imaginations. Such made-up stories are called fiction. A character in a story is who the story is about. Characters can be people or animals in the story. Most of the characters in the stories in this domain are animals that can talk. The plot of a story is what happens in the beginning, middle, and end of the story. A plot includes the major events of the story. The setting of the story is where the story takes place. For example, the setting of a story about students might be a school. Today you're going to listen to a story called Chicken Little, in which the main character, Chicken Little, makes a silly mistake and becomes scared. Listen carefully to the story to find out what silly mistake Chicken Little makes and why it makes her scared. Remember, this story is fiction, which means it is made up and cannot really happen. If you've heard this story before, listen to see how this version might be different from the one you've heard. One fine morning, Chicken Little went out to the woods. As she walked along, an acorn fell on her head. Chicken Little was a silly little chicken, and she often made silly mistakes. Chicken Little thought the acorn was a piece of the sky. Chicken Little was so caught by surprise that she worked herself into a tizzy. "Oh dear me," she cried, "the sky is falling. I must go and tell the king." What does Chicken Little think is part of the sky? The acorn. An acorn is the seed of an oak tree. Is an acorn part of the sky? On her way to see the king, Chicken Little met Henny Penny. "Henny Penny, the sky is falling," cried Chicken Little. "How do you know?" asked Henny Penny. "A piece of it fell on my poor head," said the Chicken Little, rubbing her poor little noggin with the memory of it. "Then let us go tell the king," said Henny Penny, who now felt quite worried as well. So Henny Penny and Chicken Little ran along until they met Goosey Lucy. "Goosey Lucy, the sky is falling," cried Henny Penny. "How do you know?" asked Goosey Lucy. "A piece of it fell on my poor head," said Chicken Little. Goosey Lucy looked at Henny Penny, who nodded in agreement. "Then let us go and tell the king," said Goosey Lucy, who could not help but believe her friends. So Goosey Lucy, Henny Penny, and Chicken Little hurried along until they met Ducky Lucky. "Ducky Lucky, the sky is falling," cried Goosey Lucy. "How do you know?" asked Ducky Lucky. "A piece of it fell on my poor head," said Chicken Little. Henny Penny and Goosey Lucy stood nodding their heads, wide-eyed next to Chicken Little. Ducky Lucky looked at her three friends and became worried because they were worried. "Then let us go tell the king," said Ducky Lucky. So Ducky Lucky, Goosey Lucy, Henny Penny, and Chicken Little ran along until they met Turkey Lurkey, who was certainly the biggest of the birds. "Turkey Lurkey, the sky is falling," cried Ducky Lucky. "How do you know?" asked Turkey Lurkey. "A piece of it fell on my poor head," said Chicken Little. Henny Penny, Goosey Lucy, and Ducky Lucky stood behind Chicken Little, flapping their wings with worry. "Then let us go tell the king," said Turkey Lurkey, for who was he to disagree with four scared friends? So the five feathered friends ran along until they met Foxy Loxy. "Foxy Loxy, the sky is falling," cried Turkey Lurkey. "Oh, is that so?" said sly Foxy Loxy, who knew better, but pretended to believe the five trembling birds. "If the sky is falling, you'd better keep safe in my den, and I will go and tell the king for you." So Chicken Little, Henny Penny, Goosey Lucy, Ducky Lucky, and Turkey Lurkey followed Foxy Loxy into his den. The dust in the den made Chicken Little sneeze. Achoo! The force of that sneeze made Chicken Little come back to her senses. This means that Chicken Little stopped being silly and thought carefully about what she was doing. Wait, cried Chicken Little. Birds are supposed to stay away from foxes. Henny Penny, Goosey Lucy, Ducky Lucky, and Turkey Lurkey looked at each other in amazement. You are right, they cried. And so the 5 feathered friends ran out of the cave and never went back there again. And from that day on, they thought very carefully before believing that the sky was falling again. Sly, sneaky, secretive, clever. Example, she had a sly plan to trick her brother. Say sly with me. Sly. When someone is sly, they are sneaky, secretive, and clever. The sly cat waited patiently by the mouse hole. Have you ever heard a story about a sly character? Give me a thumbs up if these characters are sly. My cousin planned a surprise party for me. Raoul's brother always lets his mother know where he will be after school. Louise makes a lot of noise in his hiding place when he's playing hide and seek. My grandfather gave me a wink before secretly handing me an extra cookie. Chicken Little said, "The sky is falling." Did a piece of the sky really fall on Chicken Little's head? What did fall on Chicken Little's head? Who is the main character of this story? What is a character? What happens in this story? Does Foxy Loxy believe the sky is falling? What kind of animal is Foxy Loxy? Who in the story believes Chicken Little when she says the sky is falling? Remember that Chicken Little is a made-up and creative from the writer's imagination. Made-up stories are called fiction. Which parts of the story tell you that Chicken Little is fiction or a made-up story? How would you describe the character of Chicken Little? Wise, foolish, or brave? Piece. A piece can be a small part of something, like a piece of cake, a piece of land, a piece of puzzle. It can also be a work of art or music. It also means to join together. Piece. In the story of Chicken Little, the piece means a small part of something, a piece of the sky.